Hello everyone, this is Jaden Noble back at again with another video. Today I'd like to do kind of a little bit of a different video. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, but if any of y'all didn't know, I'm pretty young. I was actually born in 1998, so I'm considered part of the Generation Z, which is very interesting because there's not a lot of people that are my age that collect coins. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the history of how I became a coin collector, and it's a little bit unorthodox because really nobody in my family, none of my grandparents, my mom and dad, no one really actively collects coins. So it's kind of interesting how I became a coin collector, but I kind of wanted to go back in time and talk a little bit about how I got basically to here where I'm buying these type of coins. So I kind of want to start off back in 2005. My dad kind of just wanted to, he kind of collected coins when he was a kid. He has like a jar, but he never really actively like went through coins on the regular. But he thought it'd be cool if he took me to the banks one day. I believe it was probably on a weekend on a Saturday, and asked for the $50 and the big Eisenhower dollars. Because you don't see those, even back in 2005, you don't see those out in circulation on the regular. So he thought it'd be really cool to take me to the banks and ask for the $50 and big silver dollars. And I don't have the $50 still because later on when I became heavy into collecting, I didn't keep them because there were, I think, 4 silvers. We didn't even know that there were silver ones in there, but I did go through them. I think there were 4 silvers and we found like $200, I think is what we ended up getting. So it was a lot. But we did keep the Eisenhower dollars, and they're still in this can here, and it actually had $133.50. So we went, I can't remember how many banks we went to, but it was probably at least 10 or 15, and we actually got 130. Well, actually, no, that would be in the $50. Sorry. I don't know exactly how many Eisenhower dollars. This is probably how many $50 we had, and we just put them all into this can. But I think there was at least $70 or $80 in Eisenhower dollars. But this was just a really cool experience for me, going to the banks and finding coins that I'd really never seen before these Eisenhower dollars. And that kind of sparked an interest. So when I was younger, I'd always look through our change. This kind of sparked my interest in looking into change and just looking for like your wheat pennies and older coins and stuff. And my grandma, she got me like the state quarters, and also she got me the presidential dollars. She got me like the whole series. We'd get them when they'd come out. So it kind of sparked my interest. But when I graduated high school in 2016, my grandmother knew I was kind of into coins. I kind of always looked through change and stuff. And she decided to give me her entire coin collection. Her dad used to run a bank back years ago, and she inherited his coins, and she passed it along to me. She's still alive, but she passed along her collection to me, and this is kind of like one of the more valuable coins in this collection, and it's part of my Carson City Morgan collection. But this 1882 Carson City, I ended up grading it later on. I think it's a 65, but it's a really nice coin. But this also really sparked kind of my interest into coins a little bit further. And then about a year later, after I got my grandmother's collection, I did go through it, but I didn't it did spark my interest, but I was just starting college and I really wasn't focused on coins. But then on YouTube, I actually came across this channel. If you all have watched them before, it's called Half Dollar Make You Holler. I don't really watch them anymore because I'm not really into the coin roll hunting as much. But back when they first started, they went around to a lot of banks asking, for $50 and big silver dollars. They'd post videos on what they'd find and stuff. And that really sparked my interest. So I went out, I think it's 2017 is when I started doing it. I went out to the banks. And I think the first time I went out, I ended up getting a 1964 $50. And that pretty much is what really set it off. So I did a lot of coin roll hunting through about 2017 through about 2020. Once COVID hit, that kind of made the coin roll hunting I mean, it was really hard to get half dollars. And so that kind of phased that out. But I was finding a lot of the same stuff, but it's still really cool. Treasure hunting, I really like the treasure hunting aspect. But I did start buying, you know, like your Carson City Morgans and stuff. I did start buying like some of the rarer coins. And then it kind of grew. And then I started this channel in 2021. And that's when I really started getting into more of your more unique coinage, like the Drake Buzz Dollar. This is a really cool coin, and a bunch of other coins. I've gotten into some of the Key Date Morgans, some of the seeded half dollars. You guys have seen my coin unboxings, but I just kind of wanted to tell you all a little bit about the history of how I became a coin collector, because I am very young. I'm about to turn actually 27, so I'm pretty young, and I wish more people would get into coin collecting, but it is kind of an expensive hobby. A lot of these coins are a lot of money, but the coin roll hunting part is very affordable because you're literally spending face value. And maybe like with the penny being phased out, maybe that'll kind of spark some interest into our coinage, seeing that they're starting to phase out some of our coinage. Maybe some of my generation will get into it. And I wish more of my audience would be some of the younger generation, because the majority of my audience, no offense to anyone, I love it that older people are watching my videos, but I think about 60 to 70% are 55 and older. So, which is totally fine, but it'd be kind of cool to get more of the younger generation. And I'm kind of more unorthodox how I became a coin collector, because nobody in my family really actively collected coins when I was growing up. There were just a few instances where we would go and ask for some coins, but I don't really have anyone that, my dad doesn't go to the coin shows with me, and he never really gave me any advice on coin collecting. He just said, well, if you find something old like a wheat penny, put it aside. And money always was, I was very interested in it. So that's kind of how it sparked, but I'd love to pass, you know, the hobby along. And I hope you guys are passing along to your grandchildren and children coin collecting, because it is a really cool, just to look at all the history and just the different designs and just how money was more of art back then. You know, they don't make coins like they used to. And I think the hobby's in really good shape, but I still think it is going to be a little bit harder for it to keep going, especially like with my generation, millennials. I'm not seeing as much of an interest in it for the younger generation as the older generation, but I hope that that's not the case, and that as I get older, that more of my generation, more millennials, and even the future generations, that they will still think this stuff's really cool and is a cool way to collect. I do like that the metal prices have continued to go up. I think that can maybe spark a little bit into stacking gold and silver, which usually leads to coin collecting. So I'm hoping that my generation might start stacking silver. Maybe they'll start buying junk silver. That's what I used to do. I used to buy a lot of junk silver, the junk half dollars and stuff. And that kind of starts you into coinage in a way, because a lot of times, you get into that and then you realize, well, there's some really cool historical coins that have silver in them that I can buy, that have more rarity and have more historical value, and just have more artistic, designs that are more unique and they could really tell a story compared to just a silver or gold bullion. So I just wanted to share a little bit about the history of how I became a coin collector. And I'd love to hear your all comments on how you became a coin collector. Did you get it from your grandfather, your father? Did you just kind of stumble upon it on your own? My grandma and my dad kind of planted some seeds of coin collector, but they didn't push it on me. And no one was really an active collector, but it's still cool that they kind of planted these seeds, going to the banks and asking for like the half dollars and, the Eisenhower dollars. So I'd love to hear your all's story on how you became a coin collector. And I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks.